You just might call it a real-life field of dreams. They built a baseball stadium in the fields of Cleburne, and you better believe they came as baseball fans enjoyed the renaissance of the Railroaders. 2017 was not the first season for the Railroaders. It's just that there was more than a century between pitches. The original Railroaders played one season in 1906. After a 110-year hiatus, the Railroaders returned to Cleburne, meaning baseball is back in Johnson County. Hello and welcome to our look at the Railroaders' return to Cleburne. I'm Bill Jones. In 1906, the Cleburne Railroaders won the Texas League Championship. Then they went away. 110 years later, the Railroaders came back to life. The team set up in the appropriately named Depot, the new award-winning stadium, built specifically for the minor league ball club. The Railroaders joined the American Association and finished in second place in the South Division. The brand new team proved to be highly competitive as the franchise fed off the energy of the Cleburne community and surrounding area that was thrilled to have baseball back.
The fans have been really engaged with the team. You see a core group that's been here to all the games. It really means a lot to have people come out and support you like they have.
This crowd has been great, and everyone I talk to is excited about this team.
People are excited when you say the Railroaders. They're excited to have baseball, and that means a lot to the players to have that support because it makes us want to play harder and makes us want to win for them.
It's exciting to watch it grow, just the bigger it's getting, and it's going to be exciting to see what it goes to.
And what better place to start this look back at the Railroaders' return to Cleburne than by sitting down with the team's all-star pitcher, Patrick Mincy, and with pitching coach Ed Pruitt, who pitched for Cleburne High School 4 decades ago before embarking on his own professional career as a pitcher in the New York Mets farm system.
To have the Cleburne Railroaders here in Cleburne is phenomenal because it gives all the communities in this area an opportunity to come watch professional baseball. You have to understand a lot of these small towns around here, it takes them 45 to an hour, if not longer, to get to Texas Rangers and watch them play. But we have the opportunity to come here, see professional baseball played at its best. It's a thrill.
These players who've had success in their career and they're trying to revive that, they've really got to have a love for the game, right?
Absolutely. The money that they make here is not great. It reminded me when I first started with the minors, with the Mets. I wasn't making that much, but again, it is for the love of the game. You're flat out here working your tail off to have an opportunity to live that dream again, to have that shot to go to the big leagues if it arises. And to have that opportunity, you have to love the game, or you wouldn't be here.
Most guys are out here from 1:30 till 12 o'clock at night, just trying to get a shot. And it's like one of the managers I said one time, that I played for one time, he said, this game's a lot like the lottery. You keep playing it because you're hoping you're going to hit the lottery one day. You get a chance to go to the big leagues. But, that's why you keep playing. Everybody wants their dreams to play in the big leagues. They
love the people around here. Matter of fact, Winston Abreu, I was talking to him earlier today. He goes, man, this is a nice place to live. It's quiet. It's very quiet, and
And by the way, Winston Abreu has been around. He's about 40 years old. Isn't he?
He is 39. Okay. I think he's stuck at 39. So, but
like all of us.
Exactly.
Man, I'll tell you, this is a really good community. I think it's going to be one of the best as far as fan support. All the people around here are really good people. All the host families are really great people. They love baseball, and they enjoy coming out to the game. And it's we've really gotten to know a lot of the people who've helped bring the Railroaders up, and it's been cool, man, to see how much work's gone into it. A lot of good people here.
You're 28 years old. You made the All-Star team this year. What are your goals right now as far as baseball is concerned?
Right now is just to keep playing, keep trying to get a shot. I never was an affiliated ball. I've spent my whole career in independent baseball. I've actually got the chance to go play in Venezuela the last 2 winters. So my plans are to hopefully go back there if everything works out right. but just keep working, hopefully get a chance, and if not, enjoy the game of baseball, and hopefully my family enjoys it as well. So just keep playing while I can play.
And I understand the challenge has been presented to the pitching coach, and you're going to take him up on that challenge, and you're going to actually pitch in a game.
Yes, I have no idea what I was thinking. I'm about to be 56 years old, but the guys actually saw me out here one day throwing to our team alone, and they said, "Smoke, you still have it. You need to pitch in a game." I said, "Well, I'll tell you what. I'll pick a date. I'll throw 1 inning."
How much smoke do you think you got left?
Well, let's just say one coach told me one time that you have 3 pitches. Slow, slower, come and get it. And that's what I'm going to throw out there. Slow, slower, and come and get it. I'm probably right about 75 miles an hour on the fastball. Change up, 48. So
You're a crafty left-hander.
Crafty lefty.
And that 55-year-old crafty left-hander, Ed Smoke Pruitt, went out and proved he still got it in the final home game of the season. That's when the Railroaders pitching coach answered his players' challenge and pitched a 3-up, 3-down, scoreless inning. Ed Pruitt's first time back on the mound in his hometown since he led Cleburne High School to the state championship game nearly 40 years ago. The Railroaders proudly call Cleburne home. The city was established in 1871. It's the county seat of Johnson County. The stately courthouse sits on the square of the town. Over 29,000 call Cleburne home. And in 2017, that includes the Railroaders baseball team. Our special on the rebirth of the Railroaders continues.
It's great. Great people here in Cleburne, and they love having us, and they're supportive. I found my spots in Cleburne, places to go to eat, found my yoga spot, so found kind of my routine here in Cleburne, and the people, everyone's been very welcoming.
Welcome back to our special on the Cleburne Railroaders baseball team. It took more than a century to bring them back, but the 2017 season has set the foundation for Cleburne to watch the Railroaders steam their way to the future success in the American Association. The Railroaders made their debut season in the American Association a memorable one. Cleburne finished its first season in second place in the South Division. There were many memorable moments during their first season, but August 14th proved to be a special night in Cleburne. That's when one of the most talented and popular players in the history of the Texas Rangers made his way down the Chisholm Trail Parkway to be honored at the Depot. Pudge Rodriguez was honored that night 2 weeks after he was inducted in the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, and 2 days after he had his number retired with the Texas Rangers. A unique twist on the first pitch honor, Pudge caught the ceremonial pitch and then threw down to second base. Only appropriate since Rodriguez finished his career with the best caught stealing percentage of any major league catcher. As special as Pudge's night was in August, there was a night in June that defined the power of the Cleburne community. On June 13th, the Railroaders in the city of Cleburne honored a popular young man who lives with cerebral palsy. Ken Molestina introduces us to Alex, who had his specially designed tricycle stolen, and that's when the Cleburne community showed up to the Depot with a surprise.
Remember to get a Before the game even started, all eyes were already on the field. Cleburne's Mayor Scott Kane walked toward the mound with Alex Wilson by his side and the entire Railroaders baseball team behind them. They shared a public message in front of their community to whoever stole Alex Wilson's tricycle.
And I got one word for you, thief. Don't mess with Alex.
The crowd cheered, and Alex was then awarded with a huge coupon for him to go and get another tricycle custom fit for his special needs, all thanks to funds raised by the people of Cleburne and his employer, HEB. After he threw out the first pitch, he expressed how thankful he is for the gesture.
I want to say thank you so much from my bottom of my heart. Thank you, because people know how to do that.
But they did, and they even made him the mayor for the day, a job he says he's happy only lasted 24 hours.
Because if I do it every day, I will have great health. And I don't need no great health at all.
Mayor Kane told us it's these kinds of gestures that define the caring spirit of the residents here.
Cleburne stands together and stands united. When you steal from one of ours, you steal from all of us. And so we're going to have him a brand new bike, and it's going to be better than before. And I tell you, we're going to take care of Alex.
And in the end, Alex once again gets to witness just how much he's loved.
It made me feel good.
In case you can't already tell, Alex Wilson is certainly something of a celebrity down there in Cleburne. Even the local restaurants, they hang his picture from their walls. And quite honestly, we here at CBS 11, we like him a whole lot too. I'm Ken Molestina. Bill, back to you.
Thanks, Ken. That story, the perfect example of how the Railroaders reflect the spirit of Cleburne. In fact, the team's mission statement states that the Railroaders' ultimate goal is to create a positive impact on each individual we are in contact with. Coming up, we get a history lesson, as it took more than 100 years for the Railroaders to return to Cleburne. As we go to break, we test your knowledge of Cleburne's celebrities. Which one of these former University of Texas head football coaches is a native of Cleburne? Darrell Royal, Fred Akers, David McWilliams, or John Mackovic? We have the answer after the break. So did you know the answer to our Cleburne trivia question? Which one of these former University of Texas head football coaches is a native of Cleburne? Darrell Royal, Fred Akers, David McWilliams, John Mackovic? The answer? David McWilliams, born in Cleburne in 1942. He played for the Longhorns from 61 to 63. McWilliams was named head coach at UT in 1987, leading Texas to the Southwest Conference Championship in 1990. Established in 1871, Cleburne, Texas was considered an agricultural center and a cow town on the Chisholm Trail. Things changed when the Santa Fe Railroad established a facility in Cleburne in 1898. Some 120 years later, there is a new kind of depot in Cleburne. The baseball stadium, known as the Depot, houses the Railroaders, members of the American Association Independent Baseball League. The Railroaders are the rebirth of a team that played one season in Cleburne in 1906. And what a season it was. The Railroaders claimed the trophy for Texas League champions that season. This image, a replica of that trophy. It's written that Cleburne tied the Fort Worth Panthers that season, and when the Panthers refused to take part in a playoff, Cleburne was awarded the championship. So how do we know so much about the history of baseball in the city of Cleburne? Well, the resident authority on baseball in Cleburne happens to be the mayor of Cleburne. He's even written a book on it, and it's a rich history, one that includes a Hall of Famer who happens to be the greatest center fielder ever to play the game. Scott Kane, not only the mayor of Cleburne, but also the author of Cleburne Baseball, a Railroader history. How did this come about?
Well, you know, it actually started with a Facebook message from a local business owner who messaged me and said, hey, Fort Worth Cats are getting kicked out of LaGray Field. Why don't you see if they want to come to Cleburne? Ha, ha, ha. So I picked up the phone and called, and as it turned out, I met with Robbie Fenias, who was working for the Cats. And in the process, we started putting together a presentation to pitch baseball in Cleburne. And so we started looking at our history, and I know about the 1906 team, but as we got into it more and more, I started researching more and found out that we had an amazing history of baseball in Cleburne. And so as things progressed, and we went from a meeting and a concept to going to the voters to get their permission to build the depot where we're sitting, I felt like we needed to share some of those stories, and I was really amazed as I wrote the book, the stories of things you just can't make up, that are just part of Americana and baseball, and stories about the great Tris Speaker, the greatest center fielder of all time.
And I understand Tris Speaker's great nephew lives here?
He does. You know, it was amazing. We met, he heard me talking about bringing baseball back, and we got together and met, and he was gracious enough to share a lot of Tris Speaker's history that had never been told before, so that I could incorporate that in my book.
Most people don't really know who he is. Some of the real baseball fans and fanatics will know his name because he's known as the greatest center fielder of all time. You know, they called his glove the place where triples went to die. He still holds 5 major league records. He's 5th in all time in hits, still number 1 in doubles. Unassisted double plays from center field. You know, you just don't see that these days. He played a very shallow center field and was able to make those double plays that way by himself, yet get all the way back to the fence and catch a fly ball. So, you know, he was a cowboy. He grew up as a cowboy. He hopped a train from Hubbard, Texas, rode over here, tried to get a tryout with Doak Roberts, and got on the team as a pitcher initially. So, and then ended up in center field from there on out.
So this is basically where he got his start.
Pretty much. This was his first professional team, and if you look back here in the case for him, there's a copy that I put in the museum case here of his original contract, May 22nd, 1906, with the Cleburne Baseball Club for $50 a month.
$50 a month.
50, $50 a month. This picture down in the bottom, and I don't know if you can see it from here, but you see him up in the stands, and he's hugging and kissing on someone. When he caught the final out to win the World Series for the Cleveland Indians, when he was player and manager, he ran from the field up into the stands and started kissing on this lady. That was his mother.
Wow.
And the headline in the Cleveland paper the next day was the kiss of victory.
Wow.
And it was that picture and then an inset picture of him and his mother standing side by side.
By the way, those memories of Tris Speaker are right inside the Ballpark Museum at the Depot. The Railroaders didn't win a championship this year, but Cleburne did finish in 2nd place in the South Division of the American Association. Coming up, we introduce you to Cleburne's biggest rival and find out how the Depot received national recognition.
it just seems like a good family atmosphere and small and where you can get around, and it seems like a pretty fun place to be.
The Depot proved to be a perfect place for families to take their kids for an evening of baseball and entertainment. When it was decided to bring back baseball to Cleburne, they decided to make sure they brought it back in style, and they did not disappoint. The Depot at Cleburne, the home field for the Railroaders, earned the 2017 Fan Favorite Award for independent baseball ballparks. Fans voted in the annual Ballpark Digest Best Ballparks vote, and the Depot has become the perfect summertime stomping grounds for baseball fans of all ages in Cleburne. The Railroaders' biggest rival is a team that is based in the heart of the Metroplex in Grand Prairie, the Texas Air Hogs. Cleburne clinched sole possession of second place in the American Association South Division by winning 2 of 3 against the Air Hogs in the last series of the season. The Air Hogs are managed by Billy Martin Jr., a former player agent who now follows in the footsteps of his late father, one of the best managers ever. What was it that intrigued you about this, that made you decide to make the jump?
One of the owners, Donnie Nelson, is a lot bigger than me. Said if I didn't, I'd be in trouble. But it had never been a thought of mine ever to do before. But he convinced me it was the way to go.
In what ways did he convince you?
And he said getting out of your comfort level is sometimes a good thing to do. At this age in my life, I think he's right.
From the Texas Rangers, their manager, Billy Martin.
You were 9 years old when Billy Martin got the job as the manager of the Texas Rangers. What do you remember from that 1974 season?
Wow, what a great year. I mean, Dad won Manager of the Year. Hargrove beat out Sundberg for Rookie of the Year. It could have gone either way there. Fergie Jenkins, Comeback Player of the Year. Remember that old ballpark? It was a lot of fun. I feel like that season kind of put the Rangers on the map and legitimized a franchise.
As you sit in a dugout as a manager now, do you sometimes think, what would Dad do in this situation?
Absolutely. How could I not?
The Yankee dugout is a cauldron right down there now.
Do you sense that you might have some of the same qualities as your dad, or is he a unique character?
I know it's in my blood. I don't know. I'm learning so much.
Yeah, on his plaque in Monument Park at Yankee Stadium, I believe it says, "There has never been a greater competitor than Billy Martin." And then I believe on his tombstone, "I may not have been the greatest Yankee to put on a uniform, but I am the proudest." What are you most proud of your dad?
He, in so many ways was very misunderstood because most people perceive him as the dirt-kicking umpire berater.
Don't you be intimidating me! I'm not intimidating you! Don't you be intimidating me! I'm not intimidating you!
One of the most amazing things about him was his ability to separate being between the lines and the game being over. And I'd like to put it in perspective, if he had to step on your throat to win the game, he would. But as soon as the game was over, he would pick you up. He would rush you to the hospital. He would pay for it. He would apologize to your whole family. But then tomorrow, during the game, if the same situation occurred, he'd probably do it again.
And by the way, Billy Martin Sr., who managed the Texas Rangers to their very first winning season in 1974, was a product of countless independent league games in and around his hometown of Oakland, California, not unlike the type baseball now being played in Cleburne. Cleburne was a cow town until the Santa Fe Railroad opened a major facility in 1898. 8 years later, baseball was introduced to Cleburne when the Railroaders played one season in the Texas League in 1906. What a memorable season it was as Cleburne won the title. Now, 110 years later, the Railroaders are back, and it looks like they'll stay a while, creating many more memorable moments and seasons. I'm Bill Jones. Thanks for watching the Renaissance of the Railroaders in Cleburne.